Hello and welcome to GreenFleet Talks. My name is Kate Armitage and I'm your host for our special edition podcast today. I'm delighted to be joined by Tom Middleditch, who's Head of Electric Mobility at Europcar. Good to see you again, Tom.
Hi, Kate. Good to see you.
Thank you for joining us. I say this is a special edition because we're going to be talking specifically about the GreenFleet A to Z rally. It took place at the beginning of July this year. 1,400 electric miles over 5 days following a series of checkpoints.
Absolutely. So look, it was Europcar's second year taking part in the EV rally. Great to be involved again. We were delighted this year with the official vehicle provider as well as putting in our own team, which was a really great addition to what we'd done with the event last year.
Fabulous. What a great showcase, not only for the vehicles, but also for the charging infrastructure. Now, Tom, it's called a rally, but it isn't what you would typically expect a rally to be. So why did Europcar get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, for us, the event is about dispelling the FUD, this fear, uncertainty and doubt that surrounds electric mobility. I think that has to be a top priority for any organisation involved in mobility. That's what we're facing all the time with the transition to electric vehicles. There's a lot of misconceptions about electric vehicles, and the EV rally is the perfect way to actually put electric vehicles and the charging infrastructure to the test. And as you say, 5 days, a number of miles. Actually, if we include the journeys to and from home on the days before, it's almost 7 days of driving EVs. And it's a great opportunity to get an awful lot of information, put those vehicles to the test, show what they can really do. And for us, we're aiming to create some positivity around the range of electric vehicles and what that charging experience is like, rather than, unfortunately, quite a lot of the negativity that we're often challenged and faced with.
Brilliant, Tom. And this is kind of learning by doing in the most extreme way, isn't it? Plus, of course, there aren't that many vehicles that do that many miles in a working week. So it really stress testing what's happening. GreenFleet were the data provider for the whole rally. So I think each vehicle had data loggers that was monitoring different elements of the vehicle's performance and the driver's performance. I think this is something that was particularly of interest to you.
Yeah, so we had obviously our first time doing the EV rally last year. This year we kind of went into it thinking, what's our focus going to be? And we had two focuses. One was actually spending some time with some new electric vehicles which are joining the Europcar fleet, and the other was a focus on the data and on the numbers. So we talked last year a lot about the experience, and we wanted this time to be able to back that up with what actually happened. So you're right, that data from the guys at GreenFleet really helps us to do that. And we also had Kevin Booker, EV champion and record breaker, come and join us. And the idea with Kevin was that he would put each of us to the challenge so that we could understand and learn from him some tips and tricks in terms of efficiency. So we kind of had a daily challenge with Kevin. So he'd join the vehicle with us in the morning. We would drive, kind of normally to show what we would get out of the vehicle. Then Kevin would take over, adjust a few things in the vehicle and drive, considerably more efficiently than we did. And then the idea was we'd then take back over at the end of the day to see if we could match what he'd done. Kevin did do better than all of us. I think that's probably not a big surprise to anybody listening who knows Kevin and that some of the things he's achieved. But, I was fortunate enough to be driving a Mercedes for the week. Kevin got a 10% improvement by making some very, very small and subtle changes in the way he was driving. I think those are things that are really interesting, that it's not big changes you need to make. These are simple things you can do. Read the road, no harsh accelerating, no harsh braking, use the settings in the vehicle. So Mercedes is obviously a fairly premium vehicle, so perhaps had a few more settings, but eco mode is something we see in every electric vehicle. So using that will help you to improve your efficiency. And the Mercedes had some intelligent regenerative braking that was very interesting to sort of see and put to the test, and that absolutely helped. And hopefully that's technology we'll see in some of perhaps the more lower priced vehicles in the future as well, because those things all really made a difference. And I guess we kind of learned two things. We learned that there's a real value to some of that efficiency saving. It does actually translate into pounds and pence not spent or saved. We also learned WLTP, so the test that the manufacturers do on these vehicles to tell us what their range is. It's not a complete fantasy, as I think a lot of us often talk about. If you do drive efficiently, you can achieve those numbers. But I do think this is another important learning that that gets passed on to people, is that it's probably not how you actually drive, unless you're Kevin, and that's how you probably drive all the time. Somewhere below that is probably what you're really going to get. And I think those are some of the challenges in the market that we and other organizations trying to drive the transition face, is that people don't believe they're going to get the range from the vehicle. And, when you've been with the vehicle for a while, you learn these things and you understand what range it is capable of. So I think there's, there are important learnings like that, and the data points from WebFleet. And I won't delve into them today in huge detail, but those absolutely back up those findings and can help people with that.
Tom, I think I'm a great driver. I don't think the data would necessarily agree. But did you find that with the coaching that your driving efficiency did improve throughout the week?
Yes, I mean, it absolutely did. I mean, we obviously had a little bit of healthy competition between us as well, which no doubt helped. We were trying to do what the guy who breaks the world records can do. That was obviously certainly a big part of it. But yes, we did. I mean, and I think they weren't things that we didn't know. They're perhaps habits that when you've been driving for a little while, and I won't say a number of years, but, I've been driving for a while, you have habits that you pick up. And these things for driving efficiently, they're not electric vehicle things. They're just driving things. They'd be the same in the petrol car I had when I was 17. It's no big difference. But yes, we absolutely did learn some things. And I think paying attention to that data that an electric vehicle can give you, actually spending some time with that really helps you understand what those things are and what they mean. And then, as we said, that data from the WebFleet guys really helps you sort of maybe put a monetary or a time or a valuation on those benefits. And
to be able to pass that insight and information on to your own customers, obviously, then it increases that value tenfold, 100-fold, doesn't it? Tom, I've seen the route, I've seen the diversity of locations that you went to, and there's some great videos out there about the rally. But what was your personal highlight from the week?
Yeah, it's a great week. I mean, I often talk to people, and it's one of those weeks where you kind of forget where in the country you are because you're covering so much distance. But we had one charge stop that always stands out to me. It was an AW Group charge stop, quite a small site that we had there. There were chargers there was a Starbucks there, and a lovely, great wind turbine right there. And there was a real feeling of understanding exactly where this clean energy we were putting into our electric vehicles was coming from. There was something very satisfying about seeing that wind turbine. And my boss was there on that day, and he came up with a very nice little saying about sort of wind to wheel. You literally could stand there, we plugged in our vehicles, you could see the wind turbine spinning, and you could see the energy going into our cars. And then you sort of felt driving away from there that you really were doing that part for the environment and for emissions, and knowing exactly where that energy came from.
Yeah. Oh, Tom, it's such an important part of the decarbonisation of transport, because ultimately it's only as clean as the electricity that's going into the vehicle. Unfortunately, we can't all drive around with a turbine in the boot and get it out when we need it. But it would be, it will happen. We will see a completely renewable grid in our lifetimes, I'm sure. Tom, as I've already said, the rally took place over 5 days. And it was quite testing in terms of the route and the infrastructure and stuff. But that feels like quite a good period of time for a rental customer who really wanted to trial an electric vehicle for the first time.
Yes, that's right. I mean, what we say, if you go to a dealer and you're trying to, demo an EV for the first time, it's probably hours, maybe a day if you're lucky. But you really need to live with these vehicles through some of the charging, because that's the other big change. It's not just the change of the vehicle; it's the change of the way that you're putting energy into that vehicle to actually use. So, yes, rental creates this opportunity for people to really get into this, and for businesses to start their transition without that huge commitment of not really knowing what's this going to be like. Is this going to work? So we kind of say it offers that flexibility, that convenience to try, and you really do learn a lot. EV Rally is perhaps slightly an extreme 5 days, but even through a normal 5 days or longer period, you really will learn a lot about the vehicle, how charging works, the different speeds of charging, all those things that are so important. So yeah, we'd encourage any businesses who haven't yet started their transition, that rental, and we're here to help them to give it a try.
Tom, obviously great advice, and you know, charge at different, take the vehicle to different charging locations, try different networks. Can you charge at home? All of those things that you can only do if you've got the vehicle for an extended period of time. So yeah, great advice, and hopefully this is going to encourage a new wave of businesses to move into e-mobility.
I hope so.
Tom, that's about all we've got time for. Thank you very much for sparing me some time to discuss the EV Rally today. And thank you, of course, to Europcar for joining GreenFleet Talks.
Thanks, Kate. Good to see you again.
Cheers. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Tune in again soon.